You said he's here? Thank you. Mayor Hepton? Mayor Hepton?
He has to unmute. For some reason, I think Counselor Johnson may be trying to get in, but I'm not sure why I can't add her in.
Okay.
Uh-oh. I hope she didn't. Wait, no,
Am I in now?
You're in, Counselor, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I took care of it, Miranda. I'm still here.
Okay, I started doing it, but some of them didn't have the option to bring them in. It just said chat.
Miranda, did I get in? Did Clara
You're in,
Johnson get in?
Counselor. Yes, you're in.
All right, thank you.
Hello?
Okay.
Miranda, I'm making you the host now, okay?
Okay. Is the mayor on now?
The mayor's on the phone with me. He's having technical difficulties. He's trying to get back in. Well, he's on, but he's like frozen, he said. Okay, you're gonna try either another device or to get back in.
Is *6 working to unmute?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. What about the mayor? Maybe he needs to do *6.
So the mayor's gonna speak through my phone as he tries to set up his other device.
All right. I'm on the phone right now. Just let Mr. President know.
Okay, we hear you. We hear you, Mayor. Would you please lead us into the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I
Thank
pledge
you.
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Presswood, would you please have roll call?
Mayor Hopkins,
Present.
Vice President, President Monroe is out tonight. Vice President Francis,
Present.
Counselor Johnson,
Present.
Counselor Cave,
Everybody, I'm here.
Counselor McCabe. And I'm looking up, hold on, let me get her. I will come back. Give her time to get in. Counselor Jones Waters. Counselor Rocloud.
Present.
Counselor McCabe, can you hear us?
Here.
And Counselor Jones Waters? The solicitor said he's out tonight. Ms. James? Thought she was admitted. Let me make sure she's not still in attending. Mr. Nichols?
Present.
Ms. James is in the chat. She says she's online, but she cannot be heard. And Ms. Mulvana?
Here.
And that concludes roll call, Vice President Francis.
Thank you. Do we have any citizens that wish to speak?
Let me check the chat. I don't see anything in the chat and I don't see any hands raised.
Thank you. So what we'll do is move on. The next item is the approval of the minutes from July 15th, 2021. Do we have any? Thank you. And we have a second? Thank
Second.
you. All in favor, let me go around. Clara Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. McKay,
Yes.
Councilwoman Jones Waters,
This meeting is being recorded.
Councilwoman Road Cloud,
Yes.
Councilman Cave,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carried. Mayor, would you give us your report, sir?
Certainly. I do have a couple of things to report. 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on a fireworks ban resolution that kind of copying what Lansdowne did. The state had legalized fireworks in the state in 2017, and it's gotten out of hand, definitely in our area and across the state. So we're working on legislation where we can rescind that, trying to rescind fireworks being sold in the state, because we've had a lot of problems with that. Although it hasn't been that bad, I don't think, this year, but it really has been bad. So the solicitor's working on verbiage. So if it's not prepared today, we should see that for council approval for next month. There's been some complaints or concerns from the neighbors, from residents, about the proposed marijuana dispensary proposed for the old Citizens Bank site. So the next mayor's forum, Thursday, September 2nd, we're going to address those concerns, and we're trying to get all the principals to attend that virtual meeting so that the residents can be apprised of what's going on. Thirdly, most of you, if not all of you, are aware that one of our state representatives, Margot Davison, has resigned. She's in the 164th Legislative District. Joanna McClinton is in the 191st, so Yeadon has two state reps. So process is underway for a replacement as we speak. Do want to comment on the reopening of businesses and the like. The vaccines have been readily available, and it's allowed a lot of businesses to open up. But as far as the borough is concerned, we're still requiring social distancing and the wearing of masks. I can report that the CDC is recommending or considering recommending a third booster shot for those who have been vaccinated, namely with the Moderna and the Pfizer. Not sure what they're going to do with the J&J at this point, but in September, the CDC is recommended that those who have been fully vaccinated receive a booster shot, mainly from, I believe, the over 50 or over 60 group, and first responders will be first in line for that. And that's going to be available in September, I believe, September 20th. And it's recommended that if those who have been vaccinated wait 8 months, so 8 months after the second vaccine, they're recommended to get a third booster shot. So that's something that's coming because CDC experts have determined that the vaccines are starting to wane at this point. The chief is going to report on his report, but I thoroughly looked over his report, and it continues to astound me how much crime is down. It's really, really coming down, and he could talk about that in his report, but it's really even surprised me how much crime is decreasing. Homicides, well, not just homicides, but burglaries, thefts are really way down. Speaking of homicides, we did have a homicide that may have taken place in Delaware, or somebody was last month kidnapped in Delaware, was murdered, and they dumped the body in one of our industrial plants at 6250. We believe we know who the people are, but the FBI and the feds have taken over that investigation. We have to wait until they go through all their procedures before we hold a news conference on that. Public safety, we had a public safety meeting on Saturday, July 31st. Next meeting will be Saturday, August 28th. One of the major issues there is the unsafe SEPTA fencing along our regional rail line. We've made progress. I got a hold of counterpart at SEPTA, who's working with Jeff Wilkinson to correct that as we speak. So there's been several meetings, and they've come out. There were some hangups, and I don't think they really wanted to do it or thought it was theirs. They said they didn't. They never really installed it, but I know the people. I had a good relationship with them working with SEPTA, and they said they'll do it as a favor for me. So that's on the way as we speak. And there ends my report.
Madam
Thank you,
Chair,
sir. Go ahead.
Mr. Francis, I have a question for the mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Mayor, have you heard anything about the reopening of schools and vaccination for the students as well as the staff?
Information is online, and that's why we do need a liaison to report to council. But I looked online, all the information's online. What it says is that they're going to go back in person in September. I don't know how, what the specifics are, if, with the mask and so on and so forth, but I know that they're going back in person according to the William Penn School District website in September.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions?
Yes, Councilor Francis, may I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, one question with respect to the medical marijuana facility. You indicated that you were going to discuss same at your next mayor's forum and possibly have all principals involved attend same. So how would people get the information that are unable to attend your mayor's forum? I didn't know that this was still on the table, that they were still pursuing a medical marijuana facility in Yeadon, but I did see some sort of construction work taking place at the old bank. I didn't know what that was about. So when I heard you say something about this, it just triggered me that obviously this is still a discussion and it's still something they're pursuing. So how would people get the information who's not able to attend your forum?
I'll take the second part first. It's as far as the information or, how this came about. A lot of this is Rufus on the line? Is Mr. Stokes on the line?
Yes.
Okay, and maybe he could comment on it. I was not aware of all the applications and that this was really going on until like a month or two ago. So I was kind of blindsided as to the speed and the alacrity of all of this, just like you were. So I didn't know all this was going on until like a month or two ago when it was brought up. So I would have liked to have known something like this was in the offing, so we could have properly apprised the residents, because this is not a normal type of zoning application. So we should have been notified, the elected officials, a lot earlier in the process.
I
So
thought
having
this
said
was brought
that,
up initially back in November.
what's that?
I think it initially hit. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interject, but
No, go ahead
I
if
think
you
we
have.
initially discussed it. I want to say, wasn't it in our November or December legislative meeting?
Yes, it was. But then it kind of went away. We
Right,
didn't hear
right.
anything else about it. So, I mean, it's horrible to assume. We shouldn't assume, but because it was hush hush for a long period of time, I was under the impression that this was no longer on the table. So now that it is on the table, it was never taken off the table. The residents would like to have a discussion with all principals involved, but I feel like the residents who are not able to attend the mayor's forum to actually get to discuss their concerns, how else, will they be able to get information with respect to the facility, and how will they be able to provide their concerns to the borough so they can be expressed at the mayor's forum?
Yeah, and thank you for that, Councilor Roadcloud. I agree with you in that it was brought up in the time frame that Councilor Cave said, but then it kind of dropped and I thought it went away. I thought it was no longer on the table. So I didn't hear anything else about it until like a month or two ago. It's like all systems are go, and then residents finding out about it and they're up in arms. They're calling you, they're calling me. So what was proposed by resident is that we have a town hall meeting. But what I said is, why have a town hall meeting when we have other forums where that's regularly scheduled? Why keep recreating something where we could just piggyback on existing systems? And the timing is right in that the mayor's forum is only 2 or 3 weeks away. So that was brought to my attention last week. So what I would propose is to use that as that vehicle and then advertise it. Those who can social distance and come in person, we can have a cap at in the auditorium, and then we can have the rest virtual. And I'll be touching base with the borough management, Nafis and Miranda, to heavily advertise that so that the residents are given an opportunity to comment.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The facility is half built already. I mean, I absolutely think a forum to discuss it is important, but we can't reverse anything. I mean, it's almost inevitable that this place is opening up probably pretty soon.
But the residents wants to know, ask a lot of questions. What is it about? How is it going to impact them? What is the volume? How does it affect their quality of life? How did this come about? They have a lot of questions.
Sure, good.
About notwithstanding, it seems like we may not be able to reverse it. So it's still no worthwhile to have a meeting because residents want it. They have a lot of questions. Many of them are just enumerated, and there's more.
Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Councilor Roadcloud?
Yes, it does. It does. Yeah, I kind of, here I go again with the assumptions, but I kind of feel like I had no idea, Councilor Cave, if you could help me here. I had no idea that they were moving forward with the facility and that the construction was half done already, but you,
Yeah, I mean, only because when I walk by, I see the dumpsters and the contractors out there every morning. I mean, that was my assumption.
oh,
Yeah.
you didn't know exactly what was going to be there. You just saw the construction.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, okay. Okay. But Mayor, yes, you did answer my question. I think it would be great if you could have your forum virtual as well, because a lot of residents are a little concerned, and they should voice their concerns and hopefully get some answers that's amenable to all parties involved.
Yeah, and to your point, I'm with you on that. And that, like a week ago, I'm getting these calls. I'm on vacation, I'm getting these calls that what's going on. They didn't know, and I had to, don't like to claim ignorance, but yeah, you kind of knew that it was discussed like 6 months ago or so, but it dropped. I agree with you. No one talked about it, and it's water under the dam. I would have liked when in code department, if you're a director or something, and don't want to throw anyone on the bus or anything, something that is of that high regard, you have to let the elected officials know. It's not a run of the mill, just deal with it as a code, application. This is something that residents would need to know about. This is not a normal. It's novel. It's new. It's something that would raise concerns because it is about marijuana in their facility. Regardless of what people feel about it. So we really needed to know each step of the way. But it's water under the dam, so we'll deal with it that way. So that's what happened, and that's how the best way I felt, counselors, how to deal with it. But we'll make it virtual so that it'll garner widespread, input from residents. Okay.
And then not to beat a dead horse, but I think at the forum, and it's just totally a suggestion, since the state has jurisdiction over, because remember a few meetings ago, we asked Mr. Gibbs, and Mr. Gibbs said that the state has jurisdiction and the municipalities really don't have much leverage on, since they're state regulated, where and why and how these places go up. So maybe if, also get some input maybe from one of our state reps or the state senator regarding what kind of oversight, what kind of control, what kind of responsibilities now the municipalities bear. I think that's going to be pretty important. I think there's will be some questions that kind of get asked at your forum, and I'll be in attendance too. We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and we have to heavily advertise that because it's really upset. And like, we know more about dispensaries than that, but the average resident hearing that a marijuana joint is coming, no pun intended, in their backyard, that raises a lot of concerns. I've heard, what does it mean for my quality of life? Will I be able to sell my house? They're legitimate questions, right?
Mayor and Vice President, Rufus would like to make some comments, but he's having trouble with his audio. Also, Ms. Nesmith has her hand raised, and KB put in the chat, who approved the permits, etc. Why didn't the mayor know? Totally shady and unacceptable. So Vice President, how would you like to proceed?
Let's give them, well, we're already into our meeting. Let's give them about a minute to voice their questions. Who's the first one?
Start with Ms. Nesmith.
Is she on?
I can put her in, hold on. Ms. Nesmith?
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
how you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm upset.
How you doing?
Okay, that's number one. Okay, so let me calm down a little bit.
Uh-huh.
As Yeadonites, we did not know. We already knew that Mellon Bank or Citizen Bank had closed down. But as citizens here, we did not know that this marijuana facility is going to be there. You're talking about traffic. All you got to do is go to Baltimore Pike and look at the traffic at that one. This is a little community. that's close to the city. We already got a set of problems. So now you're adding more problems with bringing that form of trafficking into the area. I feel like that you didn't even consider the people of Yeadon. We vote y'all in, and then you just act like we're not here. And you say it's water under the dam. It should not be water under the dam. We all live here. And then when you start, and you don't have, look, a chief, I like the chief, and I like the police, but we don't even have a lot of police officers here. So you're creating something that we may not even be able to handle. So I'm upset, but I'm trying to say, I'm trying to sound politically correct in this situation. All of us here are Yeadonites, and some of us, my children are grown, but some of us have small children. This is, I don't know. Leanne, help, okay? Mayor, help, because I don't understand none of this. I don't understand why none of us was notified.
It's not a good look.
Counselor Francis, I'm sorry, Counselor Francis, I just want to put this on the record because this is a little disturbing. I am the code enforcement liaison, and I have heard nothing about this facility since we last talked about it last year in October, November timeframe. Subsequent that time frame, we discussed trying to bring a Starbucks to that very facility. And it was said that, traffic, it would be too much traffic. Maybe we should look at another area, so forth and so on. And now today, I'm hearing about this facility is half completed and they're moving forward. I'm disgusted as well. I'm always disgusted, but I'm extra disgusted today because, like I said, I hold my meetings every month, even when people don't show up, even the people that work for the borough that don't show up, I'm still there. And no one opened their mouth and said anything. And it's not right. And this is not how we should govern this community. It's just a shame.
Yeah, Ms. Nesmith, I echo what Councilor Road-Cloud said. I don't like to be caught flat-footed or blindsided, and it makes us all look bad. Councilor Road-Cloud says she fears that department, and she didn't know. And the chief said he could shed some light on something, until we can hear from Rufus. Chief, do you have any insight?
Yeah, Mr. Stokes, Director Stokes is ready to talk. He's just waiting until you guys finish with the resident.
All right, let the chief speak first, and then we'll hear from Mr. Stokes.
Well, I think because it falls under code, Mayor, with all due respect, if it's okay, I'll let Director Stokes go first. Are you good with that, or?
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Okay. Let him go first.
I'm good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The information that was submitted to the borough for the marijuana dispensary started in August of 2020. It was given to the solicitor to pass it on to management and council. Under the state law, as Mr. Cave said and someone else said, it falls underneath of the state. And because the borough did not put anything in place about 6 or 7 years ago when this was brought up for the state of Pennsylvania, then it falls under a medical doctor's physician category, which that area of zoning does fall into that. It was discussed several times on meetings in 2020 in reference to this. So it was discussed many times from August into November and even in December of 2020. All his documentation was sent to the solicitor and management, and it should have been passed on to council because everything that everyone is asking for was submitted. So I will make sure that everyone who say they did not get it will get it before tomorrow is over with.
That would be all of us because I didn't receive it either.
Right.
Mr. Stokes, that would probably be every counselor because the only one that Counselor Johnson, remember is the meeting that we had that I agree with Counselor Cade, November or December. And I remember asking, was it going to be a marijuana dispensary at that particular time? And I was told then that it was going to be medical, but marijuana was not mentioned.
That is correct. It was a medical marijuana dispensary.
I agree. I hear what you're saying now. When I asked the question, marijuana was not attached to medical.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Chief, Mr. Stokes, are you finished?
Yes, I'm finished.
Okay, thank you for your input. Chief, did you have something to add to that?
Yes, I do, President. Good evening, everyone. I too was under the impression initially that it was going to be a Starbucks. I was actually riding around and telling people that Starbucks was coming in and it was getting built. It wasn't until recently that I found out that it was going to be a medical marijuana dispensary. I have since received all the documents from the code department related to the dispensary to hopefully, and again, I'm not going to really put anybody at ease because the state law specifically considers it like a pharmacy. So they are allowed to go in areas that are zoned for businesses or pharmacies, kind of like the pharmacy that's there on the corner already at Gunther and Church. The only issues that medical marijuana dispensaries have that they have to follow under the law is they can't be less than 1,000 feet from a school or a daycare. Medical marijuana, while legalized in various states, is not recognized by the federal government as being lawful. So for that reason, it's a cash-only business. You can't go in there and purchase it with a credit card or a debit card. It's cash only. So it creates concerns for me because being a cash only business, that it potentially could draw people that want to get in there. In addition to the 1,000-foot rule, and I don't know the closest daycare to the dispensary as we speak is St. Michael's there at St. Michael's Church at the Arbor and Longacre. You measure from the property line to the property line. When I do it on Google Maps, I come up with 1,067 feet. Now that's Google Maps. I don't know if the state comes in and actually walks it off or something along that line. I don't know, but if they're less than 1,000 feet, it will not succeed. Just on another note, at some point, if it is legalized, to a certain degree, I can understand the frustration of the residents that live nearby it, because it is something that is kind of out of the ordinary. It is a drug. If they legalize it, it'll. If I can give some people some peace of mind for down the road, when it is legalized, because it's going to get legalized, but when it does get legalized, it's almost going to be like a wine and spirit store, to be honest with you. I know that doesn't solve the problem, because I agree that we all should have known a little bit more ahead of time. While this may be an exempt business from having to have a zoning hearing, I still feel that this probably should have been something that the community could have spoken about, met the owners to determine what their security is, because I still don't know yet. I'm waiting for someone from the company to contact me. Hopefully we'll have that at the mayor's forum so that person can discuss with the public as well. But there are, and the other thing that the property has to have and I have yet to see it, is the property has to have a separate secured area for the receipt of the medical marijuana products. So they can't just pull up in a truck and walk in the front door. They have to have a secured part of the building that is separate from the public, that is secured. So when a guy gets out of the car, he's not in the public with the property. So I have not seen that. I don't know if they're going to build that. I don't know what the plans are. I don't know. I don't know, Director Stokes, if you had those plans, which include that part of the requirement under the state guidelines. But if they fail to meet any of the state guidelines, their permit, their medical marijuana dispensary permit is pulled. And basically they've done all that work for hopefully Starbucks to come in. But that's all I have at this point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Ms. Presswood, those that still have questions, would you ask them, please put it in writing or send it to you so the mayor can answer them at the forum. We have to get back to our agenda, okay?
Yes, and there aren't anymore.
Okay, thank you. For the president, thanks to everybody for the input, because again, I think most of the councils have been getting calls and it kind of blindsided us because, well, like you said, most of us didn't know what was going on till we got the call. So hopefully this puts some light out there, but when the mayor has a forum, hopefully we can get all the players involved. Now to the president's report. Yeadon was awarded $25,000 from Keeping PA Beautiful. The next one is we have a vacancy in the library board liaison. I'd like to find out where we can have a motion to consider to accept in alphabetical order the candidates. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I make a motion for Dr. Stephanie Robertson. That's not alphabetical, but no one else is saying anything.
Okay. Well, let's do this. I'm going to call a consideration for appointing Joyce Henderson. Has everybody read her resume?
Yes.
Are there any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so there's one vacancy that's available.
Yes.
Did we receive a resignation letter from the individual who held that vacancy prior to it becoming vacant? Because I did not.
I believe we did. Ms. Presswood, did you get a resignation letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so it was a written resignation. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead. Wait.
Question, Mr. President.
Yes.
Who resigned?
Miss Beatty.
I'm sorry?
Miss Nicole Beatty.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
One more question. I'm sorry. One more. I'm sorry, Counselor. How long? What is the term limit?
I believe it's 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. I was on the commission. I believe it's 5 years. Can anybody?
Shouldn't we have that information so it can be recorded properly?
Yeah, can somebody look that up?
Mr. Nichols, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, Counselor.
Wouldn't this person be doing the unexpired term? And then there'd be another vote. And Ms. Samuel's in the chat and she said that the terms are 3 years.
Oh, 3 years.
3 years. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go back to the candidates. The first one is Joyce Henderson. I'm going to go around and find out from our counselors. Claire Johnson, let's take a vote.
No.
Dr. McKay,
I don't know any, I don't know them, so I'm not gonna vote.
so you're abstaining.
Yes.
Okay. Counselor Jones Waters,
I'm also going to abstain. I have not had enough time to review the resumes. Thank you.
I think if two abstain, they would leave, do we have enough? One, two, oh yeah, I guess we still have enough for a quorum then.
okay. Counselor Rowe-Cloud,
I'm sorry. This
You're
is,
muted.
okay, thank you. This is for,
this is for Joyce Henderson.
yes,
Okay. Counselor Cave,
No,
and I'm a no. The next person is Dr. Stephanie Robinson. Clara Johnson,
Yes, and yes.
okay. Dr. McCabe,
and she abstained.
okay.
Abstain.
Counselor Jones Waters,
I also abstain.
okay. Counselor Rowe-Cloud,
no.
Counselor Cave,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So
Um,
Dr. Stephanie Robinson has 3 votes.
So I think they
Two.
both fail, right?
Ms. Presswood,
No, I think
it passes. It's
2, 3. I believe Ms. Robinson has it. Ms. Presswood,
Ms.
Well,
Good.
I was just going to say, Counselor, that there are 6 members of council present, not 7. So you would need, in order for the vote to pass, you will need at least 4 votes.
okay.
Give me a
So
vote.
I
Right.
think,
But
agree.
because and I'm not a lawyer, it's kind of like 3-3. I don't know if this is an opportunity for the mayor to
no,
be
3-2. It's 3-2.
3. It's 3-2.
Right, because Dr. McCabe abstained.
Right. 2 counselors
I
abstained.
abstain.
2 counselors
And Doc-
abstained. Don't.
Right.
There was 2 abstention, 1 no, and the others were yes.
So, and in my experience, the mayor would have the opportunity to vote here.
Right.
I think you're incorrect about that. I think the majority won. The one that got 3 won.
I agree with Dr. McCabe as well. It's an odd number, and because council is an odd number, 7, 3 would be an odd number as well.
Well, I would recommend tabling it
Tabling it,
until the solicitor makes himself available.
I agree.
So
I agree as well.
Okay. So this will be tabled.
So we gotta vote on the table. So I move Road Cloud tabling. So I moved it, so somebody would need to second it, and then we.
Second.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chairman Francis, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I just want to say that I don't know any of these people either. When we're voting, I know neither one of these people. I just read the resume, and that was
Correct.
just for clarification.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what happened with all of us. We read their resume and went through there and made our own decisions with this.
Right.
It's been properly.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
Before we do that, while we're on the question, because I don't want this to come up again, didn't Lauren Footman have a resume in there? Because I don't want that to be
Not for-
bypassed again.
Not for the library board. It was for the civil service.
Oh, this is library board.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yes, library.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
Thank you.
Let's do the vote. Councilor Clara Johnson.
I vote to table, yes.
Okay. Council McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters.
Yes.
Councilor Rowe-Cloud.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion table. The other thing that I've found out from the borough manager is that Milwaukee Court, we have potential funding for a bike route. Is that correct, Ms. Presswood? Ms. Presswood?
Yes, Counselor, that is correct.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Thank you. I was asking about, I think you gave
Yes.
some information about the bike route that we want to get possible funding.
I can speak to that if Miranda's not able to get
So
on.
I'm sorry, I was talking to the solicitor. He said that Mr. Nichols is correct about the vote on the library board. He said it would be considered 3 and 3, which is a tie, and that the mayor does break the tie in this instance.
But it wasn't 3 and 3,
It
3 and
wasn't
1.
3 and 3. It was 3
It
to
was not
2.
3.
I understand. I explained that there were 2 that abstained.
An
One
abstention, I'm reading it.
considered 3
I
and
just want
3.
to, yeah.
Extension is a no vote.
An extension is a no vote. I'm reading it. I was reading it when I said it, but you guys, went in a different direction. But the solicitor did just confirm it. The mayor would be the deciding factor.
But it wasn't 3 to 3. It was 3 to 2. You gave him the wrong information.
No's, Dr. McCabe.
Pardon me?
Abstentions count as no's. That's why it's considered 3 and 3.
I don't understand you.
Counselor Jones Waters abstained, you abstained, and Counselor Rowe-Cloud voted no. Counselors, I'm sorry?
That's correct.
Right, and Counselor Francis, Counselor Johnson, and Counselor Kay voted yes.
Correct.
Point of order.
So how is 3 and 3?
I asked for a point of order.
Go ahead.
So we were already voting. So why are we going backwards? We were in the middle of a vote.
Thank you.
I think
It passed to table. It passed to table.
Right.
that is correct. That's
Right,
correct.
so
I think that's
Going backwards, we should be on
Go ahead.
number 7 on the agenda list.
Correct, and I think we were just on a point of clarity, Counselor, for the record, just so it was reflected. You're absolutely right. The motion was already carried that it was going to be tabled to the next meeting. We're not undoing it. From my perspective, it was a point of clarity.
okay.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Okay. So we'll move on. There's two things since we're talking about the president's office. I think it's already been mentioned by the mayor. It's an email that went out to all employees. All employees must wear a mask while they're in the building. That is a must for everybody's safety. The second thing that I've been getting a lot of calls, and other councils have too, we're going to ask our community and neighbors, please talk to your neighbors and any visitors and tell them, please stop throwing trash in the street. Our public works are working the hardest they can to get the streets clean. We go out there every day. You get your yard cut. You go out there and pick trash. The next day, you find McDonald's bags and Dunkin' Donuts cups and everything else on their lawns. Please, let's keep our community clean. And the last thing I'd like to say is please, dog owners, please curb your dog. It's not fair to your neighbors or anybody else in the community to come out there and see mess in their yard. Please. Thank you. So ends the president's report. Manager's report.
I'm sorry, is it my report now?
Yeah.
The items handled and announcements from management this month are as follows. PICO and management met on July 19th for the annual review. Code Elevator performed maintenance to the elevator on July 22nd. The manual for the elevator was laminated and placed with the control panel. For the past several years, Yeadon has participated in a group SALT contract. Newtown Township continues to coordinate the soliciting bids for the group, held the bid on July 29th.
Stop.
The other members are Middletown, Radnor, Marple,
Please mute yourself if you're not speaking.
Thank you.
Edgemont, Haverford, and Thornbury Townships, as well as Ridley Park Borough. This year, the lowest responsible bidder is Eastern Salt Company Incorporated at $63.60 per ton, which is the same company as previous years and $13.25 more per ton than last year. Management's recommendation is to accept this bid and contract. A motion is on the agenda for council's consideration. The bid for the access door and stairs to the flat roof above the third floor break room was held on August 3rd. NDI will provide more details during their report. Borough management meeting with NDI was held on August 6th. Updates on various issues and projects were discussed and will be addressed during the engineer's report. There was a steering committee held with Mr. Schwartz from Bergman, NDI management on August 9th regarding the Eastern Delco Bikeway study. Councilors Cave, Johnson, and Roadcloud, the solicitor, management, Mr. Stokes, and Mr. Wilkinson met on August 12th to discuss potential changes to the shade tree ordinance. Human Good and the parties involved on the McKemmy Court project met with management and NDI to discuss outstanding issues on August 16th. NDI Chief Department Management met on August 18th to discuss traffic control matters. The Delaware County Wellness Center and Health Partners Plans are hosting a back-to-school event on August 28th from 10 to 2 at the Wellness Center located at 125 Chester Avenue. The fire department is holding a movie night at Kerr Field on August 28th at dusk. Playing with Fire, which is rated PG and stars John Cena, will be played. Wawa is donating drinks, Hers is donating chips, and the Salvation Army is donating refreshments as well. As Vice President Francis mentioned earlier, the borough just received a grant award of $25,000. Earlier this year, the Giant Company and Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful announced its 2021 Healing the Planet grant program in support of projects that aim to build environmental stewardship by connecting people and families to community green spaces. The Giant Company received over 200 applications and was able to provide $500,000 in funding. Yeadon Borough was awarded the $25,000 for the Yeadon Community Park Love, Health, Healing, and Wellness Initiative, which will be used to help reduce the costs associated with the purchase of the fitness court and garden supplies and materials for the Love Garden. Additionally, Holy Cross Cemetery will be donating a gravesite or bench to a winner at the ribbon cutting ceremony, and Majors Market donated $200, which brings the total in sponsorships and grants to over $60,000. We are still waiting for additional sponsors to let us know if they will participate. In recent discussions with other municipalities and residents, management was informed that Yeadon's initiatives and accomplishments are being noted throughout the community. For example, many have mentioned how they like the website. Others mentioned how their manager helped them obtain vaccinations. Others congratulated the borough on the Love Garden. Some noted the employees' willingness to assist others, even if it is after hours, such as with the free vegetables from Urban Root. These are just a few of the items being noticed. Items in progress. The Delaware County Transportation Improvements Inventory is a record of documented transportation needs with Delaware County. This record is used to help direct municipalities to available funding. Ms. Barr from TII reached out to management to discuss borough projects for which there may be funding available. There is no obligation to proceed with any items placed on this list. Additionally, depending on the funding sources, there may be other funding that can be used as a match. Management and NDI are working with TII and SEPTA to increase the borough's chances of obtaining available funding. The borough is on the project list for the Transportation Alternative Set Aside Grant Program. The borough is also on the list for restoring the trolley stop from Cedar Avenue to Chester Avenue, as well as for replacing and installing sidewalks and shoulders from West Providence Road from the bridge over Darby Creek to Lansdowne Avenue. Please note the county and SEPTA are expecting to receive funds for infrastructure and transportation. Items to be addressed, the one was already discussed about Ms. Beatty resigning on July 20th, and there has been a vacancy posted since. There were 2 candidates, and we know how that went. And individuals and companies throughout the world have been experiencing an increase in spam emails. One way to prevent this is to change your password regularly, especially if you receive such an email or are informed that someone received an email from you. You should also report it immediately to Waytech, the borough's IT company, and/or borough management. And that concludes management's report, Vice President Francis.
Thank you for your report. Do we have a solicitor's report?
One was not given to me. I believe he'll update everybody next month.
Okay, thank you. Tax collector on?
Yes, good evening, everyone. The totals for the month of July: trash, $10,660, sewer, $11,895.44, real estate tax, $19,816.86, a total of $42,372.30 for the month of July. That concludes the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Councilor
work.
Francis,
Thank
may I ask the question of the tax collector, please?
ma'am.
Okay. Hi, tax collector.
Hi.
We both attended the tax seminar given by Joanna McClinton the other day. Maybe it would help a little bit if you could just give a little highlight of that meeting, of the information you provided with respect to, not being able to, take partial payments for the for borough taxes.
Councilman asked about the fact that we do not take deposits for borough taxes. You have to pay them in their entirety. And I think the response from the other tax collector was that you can let it, if you let your taxes go to the end of December 31st, the taxes are then turned over to the county. And you can then make arrangements to make payments on your taxes.
But so from what I understood, because it was actually good information, that for your borough taxes, you are not allowed to accept partial payments. It have to be paid in full. However, you have until December 31st to pay your taxes in full. If you do not pay them in full by December 31st, then your tax bill will be considered delinquent and it will go to collections. You will incur a penalty, and then at that time, you'll be able to arrange for payment arrangements.
Yes.
So in essence, you cannot arrange for any payment arrangements during the year of the that the tax is due.
That's
the only
correct.
time you can arrange is after it has already went into delinquency.
Yes,
So
the
you
county,
okay.
that's correct. The county will not meet with you until after that.
Right, but you do have until December 31st. So if you can't pay, if the borough tax is due on like March 31st, I'm not sure, but just an example, if it's due on March 31st and you don't have all of that money, then you have until December 31st.
Absolutely.
And so will any penalties be assessed or not?
If you pay it before December 31st? Is that your question?
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's a late fee that's added after June.
Okay, so there's a late fee.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I thought that was just good information for people to know, because I know in Philadelphia, you can make payment arrangements with your real estate tax. I didn't know we couldn't do that here until after it went into delinquency.
Yes, that program, well, we took part in it in 2019. It was held at the library. And the state rep tries to have it annually to do an update on taxes.
Yeah, so that was actually a very good program about taxes. No one liked to talk about it, but it was actually good information.
Thank you.
Isn't that on the tax bill when it comes out? I think there's 3 different dates. The first date, there is no penalty. I think it's in April, correct me if I'm wrong, then a penalty starts, and then December, it goes to collections from to the county.
No, what happens is when your taxes come to you in February, you have until March 31st to get the discount amount. Then
Right.
after April 1st, then it's at 2% is added. After
Right.
June, then it goes to 10%.
Right.
Mm.
Mhm. That's on the tax bill when it's mailed to each.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Yes. In its entirety. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Okay. Engineers report.
Good evening. The first
Good
item on the engineers list is we had a leak. I don't know whether everyone remembers this, but we had a leak around the clock tower after the roof had been replaced. So the contractor has sealed the area where that was leaking with some DuPont type tape, and we were asking for council to agree to require them to extend their warranty for 6 months. So it would just be an amendment to their contract. It's ADU's contract to extend the warranty for 6 months.
So we need a motion on this?
Yes.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Any questions? Did you say tape,
I have a question.
Eileen?
Does
Go ahead.
that extension cost us anything?
No.
Okay.
I have a question, Counselor Francis.
Go ahead.
With respect to the 6 months, so would it be too much if we just asked for 12 months?
Well, they've already gone a year on the roof. So actually it's out of warranty right now, and we're asking them to, I want to see if it gets through the fall storms and high winds and even snow, if we get snow within the 6 months. I don't know that they'll agree to a year because they've already given a year.
Mhm.
And normally what happens is during the year, you have to just abide by the warranty and come in and fix it, but you don't actually have to give an additional warranty. And I asked them to give an additional warranty and they've agreed, but I want to put it in a contract amendment.
Okay.
All right. Can I ask a question? If we do the 6 months and when they renegotiate, can you go for a year the next time?
Well, you won't be having to do this because this isn't a maintenance contract. They replaced the roof.
Okay.
So you better not be replacing your roof for at least
Right.
15 to 20 years, I hope.
Well, I hope so with this roof over there. Okay. All right. We'll go for the vote. Councilor Johnson,
Yes.
was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Councilor McCabe,
Yes.
Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Jones Waters, Councilor Roadcloud,
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
I'm a yes. I'm gonna ask Councilor Waters one more time. All right, let's move on. Eileen, next.
Okay. The next one is Miranda mentioned earlier that the borough received bids to add the third floor access door through the break room and then to create an exterior stairwell going down to the flat roof where the HVAC units are. So there are two options. The lowest price for doing the work that was bid, and Lynn Architects prepared the bid specs. If you award items 1-1 through 1-4 to Pinula Construction, who is the lowest bidder for those 4 items, their price is $72,000. And what it includes is you'll get a patch of carpet where the door is being cut into the room. So the carpeting in that section will look different from the carpeting elsewhere in the room. The other option is to award items 1-1 through 1-5 which provides for new carpeting in the break room, so it all looks alike. And that price is $75,400. So council has you have a decision to make. And you have to make it, you can't wait on the decision. You can wait to make the award, but you can't save the decision to get the new carpeting later. It's either you bid the 1-1 through 1-4 and you get the patched carpet, or you award 1-1 through 1-5 and you get a new carpet in the break room. So I don't know whether someone wants to make a motion and then we can go from there and see again how the vote goes. And if you have any questions, I'll be
I
happy
make
to
a
answer.
motion for the second proposal.
The new carpet?
Yes.
Okay. So then let me just finish the motion. The motion would be then to award items 1-1 through 1-5 to the lowest responsible bidder, Ernell Construction, in the amount of $75,400.
And that's the full carpeted,
Yes.
Mhm.
So you just need a second and then the vote.
Is there a second?
Are we voting on the full carpet?
Right,
Yes.
we're voting on full carpet, but we want to have patchwork.
Second, I second.
Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. So when we talk about the patch, just for some clarification, I mean, can you give us a little bit of an idea? I mean, is it like a totally different color, total different, like, or is it just a slight variation of what's in there now?
I don't believe that carpeting is available, so it would have to be, that would be something you could choose. You could choose whether or not you wanted to go with something completely different so that everyone knows that you had to do it and you're not trying to match it, or you could try to do something close to it. I don't know what's available. You would be asked to pick that carpeting later during the construction process.
And
The
that
contractor-
carpet's in pretty bad shape too.
Yeah, it is.
The current carpet is in bad shape?
Yes, correct.
I have a question. So this carpet that we're discussing is located in the break room?
Yes.
In the break room, the kitchen?
Yes, the
area.
kitchen.
Okay, so why carpet as opposed to some other type of flooring?
Thank you.
I can only think that the people that prepared the bid thought that what was there was what you guys would want. I don't know. I guess they didn't ask. And
Is there any way, if we can use something other than carpeting, maybe like a water stain hardwood floor, not a water stain, waterproofing hardwood floor, can we decline the carpet part?
you would have to reject these bids and authorize a rebid.
And the other question, if we could change, is it something that Public Works can put in, or would we have to go with the company?
So personally, I would like to have a company come in and do that. That's a lot of work and a lot of time that will kind of pull the guys from the street.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm.
And they probably went with the carpet, like Eileen said, just because that's what currently exists there. And, you know, from a pricing standpoint, if we put a laminate flooring down, it's just going to be a lot more money.
It is. It would be.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, let's vote. Claire Johnson.
What are we voting on, or are we making a
Second
vote?
one, 1.1 through 1.5 for $75,400. Correct, Eileen?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, 1.5 in the amount of $75,400. That would be my motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
No, they're already, you're
We
voting
already
now.
we already
Okay.
made the motion and seconded.
Cool. I'm getting tired. Okay, Dr. McKay,
Yes.
Dr. Jones Waters, Council Jones Waters.
Council Jones Waters texted me that she had to disconnect from the call.
Okay. Council Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Council Cave,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Let's carry. What's the next one?
The next one is to, a motion to authorize NDI to prepare quotes for the maintenance of the existing HVAC system components at the Borough Hall. And
So
I
moved.
just want to clarify, I said at the Borough Hall, but I don't know if this,
So-
the air conditioning was
so-
also supposed to be at the library.
It should be under the library as well as the Public Works. So
Okay.
all three
Oh, and
locations.
Public Works, okay. So
So
it would
moved.
be
Okay.
for all HVAC systems.
For all? Okay.
So move.
Second.
Questions? Okay. Claire Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. McKay,
Yes.
Council Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Council Cave,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carries. Next.
The next one is, I don't know whether it was last month or the month before, but council authorized us to try to find a CoStarz contractor to do the parking lot lighting. And we're
Mhm.
struggling to get that complete. And at the time I said, we may come back and ask you if we could do a public bid. And I think that's where we are now. So we're asking tonight for authorization to prepare and advertise for the parking lot lighting improvements to the rear parking lot at the Borough Hall.
So move, Mr. Vice President.
Second.
Okay. Probably move the second. Let's vote. Any questions? Claire Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. McCabe,
Yes.
Council Rowe-Cloud,
Yes.
Council Cave,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Motion carried. Next.
Okay, and the last item, as you know, the National Fitness Court equipment was awarded for what we thought was $100,000 even. And they contacted us when they were sent the contract that they did not realize that they had to pay for bonds. And they're not accustomed to doing municipal bidding. So we're asking you tonight to authorize a change order for the cost of the bonding. And that is the amount that we have a copy of the invoice. So we know what they paid. Typically 3% is the cost of bonding. So the amount is $3,289. So it's to authorize a change order.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'm going to second it, but I have questions.
Go ahead.
So do we second it already? Okay, good. Isn't it usually the vendor's responsibility to obtain their own bonding?
They did obtain the bonds. They just didn't know there was a cost that they had to pay for bonds. So they were an only bidder, and therefore you kind of can negotiate with them. So we're recommending they are the only people that make this equipment. And I don't know why. I mean, we asked them if they understood what bonding was. They said they did, and then they didn't know that you had to pay for it. So they're asking for that cost to be covered, and we did agree. We spoke with the finance department, and the money's there to cover it. So we're just asking for the change order to be approved so that they can get paid for the bonds.
I don't know. I think at most I'd be willing to split it with them, but I don't know if it makes sense that we just eat that whole cost. I mean, I don't want to be hardball. I don't want to be hardball, but I mean, we're essentially paying for their
equipment.
That's their cost. That was theirs.
Exactly.
They would have charged you for it They just didn't know to charge you for it. Every contractor puts the cost of the bonds in their bid. They didn't put it in the bid because they didn't know there was a cost.
Yeah,
So that was their mistake. So we have to pay for their mistake, their
Well, you
business.
would have paid anyway. It's not an additional cost to you. It's a cost that you would have paid if they had known to put it in their bid.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It is an additional cost because it was not within the original cost that we agreed to. So it is an additional cost. And we should not be rectifying someone else's mistake. I mean, business is business. I do agree with Councilor Cave. I would agree to splitting the cost because that's a grave error on their behalf.
Call for the vote.
Let's vote.
I just want to clarify which motion is on. So the motion is for us covering the whole 3,000 and some change, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Item number E. Yeah.
So if we don't agree to it, then that means they will not perform the work that they agreed to perform. Is
I
that
am
correct?
concerned about that. I am concerned that they will back out.
So can they do that legally under a already contract that was approved and signed?
Well, we had
Call
already.
for the vote.
Well, it's still discussion. I mean,
No, the vote answers it. I mean, if we vote no, then that means that you've answered it.
Well, we also need to know what the repercussions are as well, so we
Right.
can weigh the pros and the cons.
Well, she
Right.
said that they're the only one who does whatever this work is. And so if they don't want to do it because we said no, then we have to suffer the repercussions.
Well, then that's a legal question with respect to whether or not they're obligated to perform the work or they can withdraw. That's a legal question. And unfortunately, Solicitor Gibbs is not at the meeting tonight.
Well,
so I will ask,
ask
Eileen whether or not we have time to discuss this matter with the solicitor and he advised us appropriately.
They actually were going to ship this equipment. If Miranda's on the phone, I think they're actually shipping it out tomorrow. I think that we just met their deadline for getting this equipment. Otherwise, it would go to someone else. I didn't expect this. I'm sorry. We did have talks with them and I passed on that the change order would be accepted.
Who made that decision? That the change order would be accepted? Because I don't know how anybody could automatically assume.
Well, we were asking that you guys would be ratifying it tonight. I did not use the word ratify when I brought the motion, but it had already been told to them. And our office is the one that told them. I did discuss it with Nafis, and because they're the only bidder and they're the only supplier and the borough's already committed to the slab being poured, everything was in place for this project to go forward. So that's why.
I think we could have negotiated that a little better had, we had some input with respect to this issue. I do kind of feel like our hands are tied at this point in time. So if we want to just go ahead and call for the vote, call for the vote.
We'll call for the vote. But go ahead, Councilor.
Councilors, before you call for the vote, I will publicly say this. I did authorize Eileen to do it and ask for it to be ratified. And what I'll do, as we are fundraising for this project, I will write a check for $3,289 back to the borough. That's my donation, because we were collecting donations for this. That would be NJN's donation back to the borough. So we will take care of $3,289. I'll cut the check tonight, give the show tomorrow.
No.
I was going to donate anyway, Councilor Cave, to the fitness center. I make donations every year to the borough for different projects. So I authorized it and said that we can ratify it, so I'll eat it, and that'll be my contribution.
Well, let me ask you something, Mr. Nichols. Since we're getting donations, can we look at getting more donations to cover that rather than you? I know you made the decision. Like I say, in the future, we'll probably look at different things again before they get okayed or ratified. But let's look at some more donations.
Oh, the donations are ongoing, Counselor, definitely. But
okay.
I haven't made mine yet, so I'm going to make mine.
Okay. All right. Let's call for the vote.
But there's no
Counselor
need to
Johnson.
vote now.
You do still need to vote for the amendment
Vote,
so
Counselor.
that we can send the amendment to the contract.
Correct.
Even though he's
Counselor.
paying for it?
Even though he's
Yes,
paying
it's
for
still
it,
an amendment. We're still amending their contract to increase the amount by that amount.
Okay.
It's still a motion on the table.
Right. Counselor Johnson.
Yes.
Counselor McCabe.
Yes.
Counselor Roadcloud.
Yes.
Counselor Cave.
Yes, but with a condition. We're not accepting Mr. Nichols' contribution. I do appreciate the gesture, but I
Please
just
go.
want to say we can't pre-negotiate though.
Please vote for this
I
motion.
did. Hold on, and you talked. I'm gonna talk.
You can't do it unless you amend the motion.
I said yes.
And
okay.
You can't make a
but I also
condition.
don't. But I also don't want us to pre-negotiate things because it can obligate us to things that we might not pass. That's all I'm saying.
Right. We just had that statement. We'll talk with Mr. Nichols in the future. Okay, let's move on to reports and motions.
Wait, I don't think, did you vote?
Yes, I said yes.
Okay, so then it passed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your vote.
Yes.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. And I do have a report. I think your team was out there, and I'll make a report for recreation. We did look over at the community park about 2 weeks ago. The gentleman from your company, Eileen.
Okay, I couldn't unmute. Am I muted still?
No, you're
Okay.
here.
Yes, you did meet, and we have a layout for that's a different grant. You guys discussed the layout for the DCNR grant, and
Correct.
we're moving forward with that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, when's your report?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilor Cave.
Mr. Vice President, Council, may I have a motion to consider the accounts payable list?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Questions? Let's vote. Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carried.
Mr. Vice President, Council, may I have a motion to consider the cash balance report?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Let's vote. Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carried.
And then, Mr. Vice President, NJN and Associates has been preparing the 2022 MMO presentation. So I believe Mr. Nichols will have a brief presentation on that.
Yes. Good evening.
And before you start, Mr. Nichols, I think also a few years ago, I think our MMO was kind of teetering on being out of compliance. Is that right? Is that going to be a part of your report as well?
Well, this particular thing is required by law. We have to read publicly the MMO payment for the next fiscal year by September 30th. So that's what this is, but I can also update that. We did have the Auditor General's office did come in and do an audit this year, and we are now compliant with everything related to our MMO. There were some things, they audit every 2 years. There were some things that had to be rectified that we have done. And we had a clean audit that, and I'm sorry that I don't know, it happened maybe early June. They were down and we got clear to, we have a clean audit.
And if you could just kind of backtrack just a little bit, just for any listeners who might not be aware of what the MMO is.
So the MMO is the minimum municipal obligation what the municipality has to contribute to the pension fund. The actuaries run reports based off of the number of employees that you have, the salaries in which they're paid. We have 3 separate plans. One plan is for our police, one for public works, and the other for non-represented employees. And again, every year by June 30th, information is submitted to Thomas Anderson and Associates for them, the actuaries, to do the calculations based off of the prior year's salary, wages, and number of employees that are at the borough at the time. Any other questions, Councilor?
No, thank you.
Okay, so for 2022, the borough's MMO payment for our police fund is going to be $534,306. For our public works department, our annual contribution will be $39,894. And for our non-represented employees, our annual municipal contribution will be $96,886. That concludes the report and presentation.
And can you just, I don't know if you have it in front of you. If not, we could talk about it next month. Can you draw a contrast to what those numbers were last year?
Yeah, they're very similar. The only number that went up, I don't have it, and we most certainly can get into next month. I know the police MMO went up a bit, only because, and that's natural. It's nothing that the police did or anything like that. But again, based off of the contract that's in place currently, with the raises that police officers get, the MMO pretty much follows that. So, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, I think this year we were 3.5% increases for our police at the top of the year.
That is correct.
So our MMO went up 3.5%.
And the performance and the underlying investments kind of helps how we support that value and our obligation. Is that right?
That is right. So this year we just got an email from Mike Clacken and his team, who manages our money, and we had a rate of return of about 8%. So that's a good thing. That's a great thing. That wasn't this year, actually, that was last year, with the ups and downs in the market and everything that we had things invested in. So that's a plus, and that helps us drastically. Of course, if the market goes south, the MMO potentially could be much, much higher. Things also factor into the MMO are life expectancy of retirees, post-employment benefits. So there are a number of things that are factored in, but again, this increase was a modest one, in my opinion, of only 3.5%, because mainly the market was good to us last year.
Right. So a few years ago, when we had some downturns in the market and probably a few other factors, what we were contributing each year probably was a little inadequate. Is that right?
That is correct. A couple of years ago, actually it was my first year there, and I know Councilor KB and I had this conversation. They had 2 numbers for us that we could potentially put in. And you and I had the conversation about putting in the higher number, because we wanted to make sure that those monies or investments were done the right way to get the best bang for our buck. And we did do that. I believe we did that in 2020, and that's probably why our MMO this year is modest.
Cool. Thank you.
So example, there's a financial requirement, and then there's the minimum municipal obligation, what they call it. So this year, our numbers aren't that far. We had a significant increase, if you recall, I want to say from 18 to 19 years ago, and that's when you myself, and going through the budget process, talking even with the police chief and others, we decided to budget a little bit more to put in a financial requirement versus the MMO. And this year, of course, we're reaping those benefits because our increase isn't that drastically drastically off compared to how it was 2 years ago.
Great. Thank you so much, guys, for managing it.
Thank you.
Joins your report?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both. Ordinance and zoning, Councilor Cloud.
Okay, ordinance and zoning. Well, basically it's the same thing every month. We discussed trash, the apartment buildings, not keeping up with their dumpsters, the overgrown foliage in the borough, the dilapidated sidewalks, common driveways. We discussed that a little bit. And some concerns with respect to illegal cars being parked in the borough on private driveways, so forth and so on, graffiti. Nothing new, same old stuff, codes being violated, and we're trying to enforce it. So unless Director Stokes has anything else to add to that, he's on the line. He can feel free to jump in anytime.
All right, go ahead, Rufus.
Thank you, Councilor. Mr. Stokes?
Hello?
Go ahead, Rufus.
All right, I'm still having audio issues.
They can hear
So
you.
I'm going through Miranda.
They can hear you.
Okay. As Councilor Roclaw said, yes, there are still the issues that we are addressing. For the July, there was 2 zoning use applications. They both were denied because they had to go through special exceptions. One was for a church on Lansdowne Avenue, and one was for a home daycare on Union Avenue. Again, Councilor Roclaw spoke about the hotspots, which were the apartment complexes that were still having the trash issues, and some issues in residential properties that we're still having issues with trash also. The inspectors are out writing up violations and citations as required. Action items, Midday Shopping Center is still being monitored for the trash. We still have the issue with grass and trash throughout the borough. The farmers market in the shopping center was shut down because of unsanitary conditions. They were corrected, reopened. We're still doing spot inspection of all the stores in the borough. And we have been working with the public works in reference to the low hanging trees in the rear driveways to have them cut. Items. Originally, departments inspections, rental inspections were done. The tree removal, we had a meeting. They spoke about that earlier. Still on hold. A couple of the abatement properties actually were sold, so it was taken off the abatement list, so the borough does not have to cut them and use their personnel to do that. Coming items, the Maccabee complex is in the process of being started. Again, 735 Church Lane was speaking about earlier. The Chinese store in the bottom of the block of Church Lane is closed. That's not, they are going to reopen after some relocations. The mayor actually spoke about the Cypress Street at the railroad tracks. So Jeff and Scepter was out, and they are in the process of putting up a guardrail, and the borough's in the process of putting up an 8-foot fence. For the year, our abatement received $7,390. and 54 cents. Our revenue for the code department for July, $32,116. I'm sorry, $18.48. And again, we have been writing up violations and citations throughout the borough. We had 64 violation notices. And we issued 15 citations, and we had 25 requests for action complaints that we handled. And there was 2 prior investigations in the month of July. That concludes my report for July.
I have a question, if I
Go ahead.
may.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Question, Rundell Street, the whole entire Rundell, from Yeadon Avenue all the way down to McDade, the sidewalks there. Vegetation is growing out of those sidewalks. They're seeking into the streets. It's something that I have actually talked about on many, many, many occasions. Can someone in the code department go out and look at that? It's an eyesore to drive down that street, and I pity the person that has to walk down the street because grass is growing from the home on the pavement, off of the pavement to the curb line and into the street. And I'm talking the whole entire Rundell.
Yeah, I'll have an inspector. I will have them go over there and check that.
Thank you much.
I have one quick question. Court hearings, are we back in court full speed or are we still?
There was some court hearings this month. We had some on August 7th.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. I have a couple small questions, if I might, Mr. Vice President.
Yeah, go ahead.
How you doing, Mr. Stokes? I brought a few questions up at Councilor Rowe-Cloud's meeting, and regarding, I guess, what I'll call walkability. And it sounds like Councilor Johnson has a similar concern with what's happening on Rundell. Back in the spring, I got a request from a neighbor who has a motorized wheelchair. And then a few days before Councilor Rowe-Cloud's meeting, I had a request from a young parent who walks her 2 daughters on a stroller throughout the borough. But the question is about walkability of the sidewalks. So she lives here in the 8th precinct, and there are a few houses that either don't have sidewalks or maybe the shade tree has buckled the cement. So concerns about walkability. She asked, how do we address that, especially if property exchanges hands? Correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't that property have to then maintain the current codes and maintain the current walkability of the sidewalks on that pavement, or is that something that we don't need to address?
No, when we do inspections, rental or resale, they are supposed to be writing up the sidewalks if they are damaged, or if there's a tripping hazard. That is part of the report, and they are required to repair it.
So there are, now I'm thinking of 2 specific properties right here in the 8th that have exchanged hands, and sidewalks were never required of them. So if these residents have to then step into the street. You know how people drive around here, unfortunately. So they have to step in the street or take their motorized wheelchair into the street to be able to pass by a specific house. Don't we have to hold these houses accountable to maintain that congruent sidewalk, or am I missing something here?
If you're talking about a property that does not have a sidewalk?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I know where you're speaking of, but I think that never had a sidewalk.
Right, so when it changes hands, doesn't it then have to conform the code to then have a sidewalk?
No, because I think we discussed this, I think Eileen and myself discussed this before, in reference to if there is not a sidewalk, if it needs to be replaced. Let me say it needs to be installed.
I'll speak to that. I don't know in Yeadon, but I do know where I grew up that the requirement is that if you sell the property and it doesn't have sidewalk, you are obligated to put it in, or you have to ask council to waive that requirement. I don't know Yeadon's code ordinance, though.
Can we maybe bring it up into advisement for either the next code meeting and or the next legislative meeting, please?
Yeah, I'll have that before then.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, Director Stokes, that ends your report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Council Roadcloud, Director Stokes, thank you for your report.
All right, I'm hanging up.
You're
For
welcome.
your question. Okay. We're gonna move on to Public Works. Councilor Johnson.
I'm going to ask for considerations to accept the sought bid for Eastern Salt Company Incorporation in the amount of 400 total tons at $63.60 per ton.
So move, Mr. Vice President.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, let's go for the vote. Councilor Johnson.
Yes.
Councilor McCabe.
Yes.
Councilor Roadcloud.
Yes.
Councilor Cave.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Motion carried. Thank you, Councilor Johnson.
The other thing before I ask Mr. Wilkerson to take it over, this is in for the three that attended the Shade Tree meeting that we had. We never set a date for the next meeting, in which we did discuss that there would be a next meeting. I'm asking if Thursday, September the 2nd, same time, 7 p.m. would be all right. I can give Mr. Gibbs a call like I did before and address that with him. Would September the 2nd be available for all in attendance? Is that a good date for me to throw
Yeah,
out?
that works for me.
That's good for
I
me.
will.
That's
I
gonna
will
be,
actually be on vacation.
that's the mayor's forum date where we're gonna discuss the dispensary.
All righty. Can we move it to that that was on the Thursday. How about if we move it to that month?
The next Tuesday, maybe?
That'd be great. The next Tuesday, the 7th, I think that would be. Is that all right with with all?
Yeah, works for me.
September 7th. Yes, that's good for me.
Mhm.
I believe
time?
I'm the engineer. We were going to ask the engineer to also participate so she can give us some insight on the MS4.
Yes.
Yes, so we would need her availability as well.
Exactly. Would that? I'm not sure if Eileen is still on the line. If you are, Eileen, would that be all right with you?
Did you set a time?
7 p.m.
And that's Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, right?
Yep, September 7th.
Okay, I just have to make arrangements for someone to be with my mom. I'll see what I can do and let you know, or I'll have someone else attend.
Very good. Thank you. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Wilkerson, can he please give the code report, the Public Works report?
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. Quick announcements and events for August. We have an e-waste event on Friday, August 27th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Twice a week trash pickup ends August 31st. That's a Tuesday. Events for September. We have an e-waste event on Friday, September 24th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and the yard waste drop-off event on Friday, September 10th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. We had one emergency call out. It was a shade tree fell over across the roadway at 1030 Callahan Avenue. The overall health of the tree was healthy. The root system, was just very shallow due to the fact it doesn't have enough space to grow. That's what caused it to fall over. Abatements cut: 901 Longacre, 917 Longacre, 617 Cypress, 433 Holly Road, 817 Raider Avenue, 1109 Duncan Avenue, 1211 Angora and 1123 Whitby Avenue. Abatements will be scheduled to be cut again at the end of August and or early September. Some facilities projects over at the Borough Hall. We began a waterproofing project in the raised bed next to the atrium. We were getting a lot of water penetration in that area through the wall. Once we dug it out by hand, we discovered water was penetrating the cinder blocked wall. Like I said, we dug out the area, cleaned all the drains, repitched the base to force the water away from the building, and sealed the foundation with waterproofing material. We backfilled the area with 3/4 inch clean crushed stone and river rock to allow the water to flow out of the weep holes. So far, everything's been working. We haven't had any water penetrating into the atrium, so that's a small win for the Public Works Department. The sweeper. So the sweeper's out and about, as everyone knows. Current street dirt totals in 2021, we're at 125 tons. Currently, I'm running a cost analysis on what the borough spends yearly in maintenance costs, just because I feel like, there's better options out there, more efficient sweepers. Currently, we have a mechanical sweeper that operates off a conveyor belt system. Two side brushes and a rear brush just leaves behind, kind of a snail trail of debris. And it's really not effective in picking up the finer debris during leaf season. It's one of the biggest complaints we get when the leaves start dropping. I'm looking into pricing on a regenerative air sweeper. This will do a better job cleaning the street. It's better for our stormwater management program. And it's also less moving parts, so there'll be less wear and tear. And currently our sweeper has good trade-in value as it's less than 4 years old. The new sewer truck came in on Monday. So, I have a training set up for Wednesday, the August 25th. Subject matter expert from the company we bought it from will come out and train us on how to use the new sewer truck. As the mayor and Rufus said, we met with SEPTA officials to discuss the fencing issue on the 400 block of Cypress and the 400 block of Holly Road. It was agreed that Yeadon Public Works Department will repair the fence on the 400 block of Cypress, and that SEPTA will install a reflective guardrail in front of the fence for extra protection. SEPTA deemed the fence on the 400 block of Holly Road unnecessary, as there's an entrance to the loading platform at the end of the street. Yeadon Public Works will remove the old knockdown fence in that location, and SEPTA will install a reflective guardrail in its place. Materials have been picked up. I'm just, working and playing phone tag with the rep from SEPTA to kind of coordinate when we can install the fence. And we're back to our, we're back into our COVID cleaning procedures. Tuesdays, we do the library, the deep disinfecting, and Wednesdays, the Borough Hall. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Wolf. Go ahead.
One question, Mr. Wilkerson, before you dismiss yourself. When we had the shade tree, and I appreciate the fact that you sent the shade tree notes out, very informational. There was some legal questions for Mr. Gibbs. Did he get back with you on those, or should I remind him when I call him that those legal questions are still standing?
He did not get back to me, so if you could just send him a friendly reminder, that'd be greatly appreciated. I think that would really help out in coming to some conclusions next meeting.
And for this one, friendly Clara.
Hey, Councilor Johnson, do me a favor, when you do get that from Director Wilkinson for Mr. Gibbs, CC LaToya, Monroe, and myself, please.
Are you asking me to CC you for the meeting? Because
no,
exactly, because there can only be 3 councilors there. Otherwise, it will be a quorum.
No, the information that you asked, did they get back to Mr. Wilkinson?
Most definitely, I can do that.
Yeah, thank you.
If there are any other questions, if there are not any other question, that concludes my report.
I do have one question for Mr. Wilkinson. So I did hear you indicate that Public Works will be erecting an 8-foot fence.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so a determination has been made with respect to who is responsible for that fence? And I'm assuming it's the borough?
So SEPTA's civil engineer came out. He was one of the guys that met with us. He showed, nothing on their end. And the fence actually matches the same height on the 400 block of, well, what was at the 400 block of Holly, as well as the 400 block of, I'm drawing a blank on what that other street is. It's one over from Cypress.
Arbor.
Yes, Arbor. I believe there's also one back there. And the other residents on either side, they have their standard, I think it's like a 4-foot high fence.
So, okay, so basically it's the borough. That's what I'm hearing, correct?
That's what the conclusion and agreement we came to, correct?
Okay, and the residents who yards are adjacent to the railroad tracks, those residents, if they want a fence, they would have to put it up themselves, correct?
Absolutely, it's on their property.
Okay. All right, because I do know there are some residents that do not have a fence, then they have some, I guess, bushes that is kind of serving as a barrier, but unfortunately the bushes are really thin, but it is adjacent to their private yards. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
And Ms. Wilkerson, to keep us informed about that, the truck, I think you get more information on?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, the information, I think you said you're looking for a sweeper, you get more information on that, the cost analysis?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, keep us informed, okay?
Yep, will do.
Thank you for your report. Councilor Johnson, that ends your report?
Yes, that concludes.
Okay, we'll go to public safety. Mayor Hepkin and Councilor McCabe.
Okay, not much to report. We met Saturday, July 31st, and the only action item was the fence, which has been highly reported on tonight. So as Jeff said and Rufus said, SEPTA came out and determined that it was mainly the homeowners or the borough's responsibility, that they never erected those fences, but they did work out a compromise where they're going to put a guardrail, a reflective guardrail, which they don't have to do, but they're going to do that and work with Jeff to reinforce that area. And the next public safety meeting is Saturday, August 28th. Virtually on Zoom. So that ends the report. Dr. McCabe wasn't able to be with us. Do you have any other comment, Dr. McCabe?
Yeah, I just want to say that when I was in Egypt, as we were leaving, I had a terrible accident.
Oh my God.
And I split the back of my head open.
What?
Whoa.
And I had to have stitches and had to go through a number of medical medical tests when I got back here. So I haven't quite been functioning at 100% yet.
Sorry to hear that. I wasn't aware.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite an experience.
Oh, my word.
I mean, it's a kind of experience where, at my age, you could die from that.
Oh boy.
Was oil on the floor and I fell and hit my head against the wall, which sounded like, I don't know, a bomb went off.
Oh,
and then I hit my head on a marble floor.
Oh, Lord.
And and it was just before we were ready to leave. And thank God the Lord had it so that the plane was canceled. And that meant I was able to go to the hospital.
Sorry to hear that, Dr. McCabe. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're back safely. I know it's just probably some recovery, but yeah, sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear that as well.
Yeah. We're
Thank
glad
you.
you're back home.
Better.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm back home too.
Yeah. We'll be praying for your recovery too. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, also Tom Abrams, one of our public safety members, had an issue too, and so keep him in prayer.
Okay.
Certainly.
Definitely. Okay.
But
So
that
ends your
ends our report. Yes, it does,
right.
Mr. Vice President.
Yeah. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. McKay.
Yeah. The chief, we usually afford the chief anything he wants to highlight in his report in this section.
Okay. Where's Chief Chachi at?
How are you? How are you, everyone?
Okay.
Just,
All right.
just real quick, if everybody's been keeping an eye on the reports, our crime, as the mayor had discussed earlier, is reduced this year. I'm very proud of the work the officers are doing and what's going on, and we're doing some out of the ordinary things too, as well as to try and keep our presence up out there. Two things, if you haven't seen it, on Tuesday, August 24th at 6 p.m. instead of in the morning, I'm going to be doing Good Morning Yeadon as a nighttime thing. I'm going to have some pizza and drinks for everybody. DA Stolzheimer is my guest that night. So if you're interested, go on Nextdoor or the borough website to get a link to tickets. I'm limiting it to 25 people so that I can make sure we social distance and everybody stays safe while we do it. We will still be doing it on Zoom if you're interested. If you haven't seen it yet, I invite you to sign on or stop in and see it. It's a very good venture, and I appreciate the people that come out all the time. On another thing, keep in mind for Friday, September 17th, we're going to be doing the third annual Love is the Answer Day. If you remember, it's back. We were one of the first that started it back when the coordinator decided to bring this nationally in 2018. We were one of the first police departments in the country to take part of it. AJ Ali from San Diego consistently makes mention of us. And we were also, if you didn't see it, we were brought up on the House floor saying what a good job Yeadon is doing at police differently in the nation. On another note, the fire company, I'll throw this plug out for them. They're doing a night out, movie night on Saturday, August 28th at the Kerr Field. There's a link to get tickets there as well. And that's all I have for my report.
Thank you, Chief, and thank your staff and yourself for the great work that you're doing, keeping us safe.
Mr. Vice President, I have a question for the Chief, if possible.
Go ahead.
Hi, Chief. Hope you and your family are doing well. As far as
Likewise,
the
thank you.
municipal lot is concerned, are we still ticketing for the municipal lot? If so, any rough idea of the revenue or the number of tickets we issue?
Yes, the parking enforcement guy does go around and issue tickets. We also do, I believe for the Gunther lot, there are some individuals, they get a permit that park there. It's either monthly or every 6 months. As you recall, back when I first started, I took the revenue off of the police report because I didn't want to, I honestly don't like putting that on so it looks like I'm a money making revenue thing, but I can, through our police software program, I can.
You went blank, Chief. Hello?
While we're waiting for the Chief, Mrs. Presswood and Council, can we put together some of those figures for next month's meeting? Since there are possible changes coming to that that parking lot, I want us to be able to address how we are monitoring parking. I want to address the rates that we're charging for parking, because I do want to be able to address that and the times as well. So if Mr. Presswood, if we could kind of have that raw data, I'd appreciate it.
Can you guys hear me again?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can put together a synopsis. Our software allows me to pull up the year-to-date tickets issued and the revenue that has been received. In addition to we receive revenue from the state periodically that comes in. And I can tell you that so far this year, and don't quote me on it, but I believe Mr. Nichols would have the final numbers, and I don't think he's going to have it in front of him, but we've brought in roughly between $5,000 and $10,000 in drug forfeiture money so far this year, if I recall correctly. So there is funding that's coming in for the police department to assist in our costs.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
And then, Mrs. Presswood, one more thing. I think, I think the last time we talked about modifying parking rates, we had to go through Mr. Gibbs because there was a little bit of legality. Could you advise that we will be trying to make a motion to make those changes for next month, by next month? I just didn't want to get to next month's meeting and then have to go through another month waiting for him to put information together, if that's not asking too much.
Okay, who you're asking?
That was for Mrs. Presswood.
Ms. Presswood?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I was saying for next month's legislative meeting. Are we having caucus again next month?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess for caucus then, I want to be able to prepare to address parking rates and manage that for the municipal lot for next month's meeting. And if Mr. Gibbs could just kind of prepare everything that we'll need to be able to move on it for the next legislative meeting, I'd appreciate it.
So I can send that message to him, but I would also just bring it up at your shade tree meeting.
No, this is for parking at the municipal lot.
Right, but you said that you need Gibbs to weigh in. So since you'll have Mr. Gibbs available for
Oh,
that,
I see what you're saying. I got you now.
right,
Okay.
you'll have his ear then, so you can address. So I'll send him your concern and what you would like to have done, but you can also run it by him at that meeting as well, and I'll let him know that you might, address that with him then to be prepared for the caucus.
Got you. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Councilor Francis?
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I don't want to overstep my bounds, but you are officiating over this meeting. Ms. Nesmith has a question with respect to the tax seminar that the tax collector attended. We spoke about it a little earlier in the meeting, and she didn't have an opportunity to ask. I'm requesting that she has an opportunity to ask her question briefly and receive an answer.
If she asks real quick, we're almost at the end of our report. Basically, we would go ahead and have her call the borough. Go ahead and have her ask her question real quick.
I believe she needs to be granted access.
Ms. Presswood?
Okay.
Hello. The question, and it's not just myself, it's many. I'm a senior, okay? So with the question is, we're now at the point where we're paying the 3 parts of the, school taxes, the property tax. So now we don't have a place but to just mail to the city. First of all, we're mailing our checks into the city. We already know that there's a major problem with mail, major. So on August the 13th, there was a big thing about robbery with the mailbox. And I am a retired postal person, so I know about the mailing system. Then just recently, June the 16th, there was another issue on the news about mail. So what I'm saying is we have nowhere, we can't go to the borough now because with the new statement that came out, you can't go to the borough to pay your school tax. You can't go to the bank to pay it. You can only mail it into the city. You're not giving the Yeadonites any really option except to mail. So suppose the mail don't get where it's supposed to go because the mail is horrible. There should be some kind of way that the Yeadon property owners can pay more than just by mail. And plus we're crossing line to pay it in the city.
The only thing I can say is the next meeting with William Penn, we can discuss the possibility.
That would be nice.
Discuss the possibility of them once again allowing you to pay it in the bank. Remember,
Yes.
before you could pay it in the bank, and that
Right.
would be my recommendation.
Okay.
So
that's
we'll
not
work on
under
that.
our jurisdiction, though, is it, Julian James?
Yes.
Is that under our jurisdiction to be able to make that decision?
No, we cannot. I have to go to Jeff Cuff at William Penn. I can only make a suggestion.
But Rafi, it always has been a way that the Yeadon people have been able to pay it locally, which is either at the Yeadon Borough or the bank.
No, I
Okay?
understand. I'm just saying that that's just not just under our jurisdiction to make that call. That's a school district call. That's all I'm saying. I was just wanting to clarify.
All right.
I started off by
But
saying
I
I would
agree with
make
you.
this.
I absolutely agree with you, though.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Ms.
Thank you.
can
Thank you. Thank you, Leanne.
Yeah. Can you follow up with Julian James? Ms. James, can you follow up with Ms. Nesmith?
I shall.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you.
All right, we're getting towards the end. I think the chief, you said you already made the fire report, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. The movie night they're doing.
Okay, emergency management report, things already been done. Anybody have anything for emergency management? Okay, then I'll go ahead and do, the last one is recreation. I'm gonna make this real quick. We had a complaint about the tennis courts at Kerr Field. Mr. Hunter and myself contacted the William Penn School District, spoke to Mr. Cuff, and I'm happy to say, I understand there was like branches growing out of the courts. They cleaned everything up, it's clean. We're going to make sure that it's not a one-time deal, but it is clean over there. We were amazed how clear it looks over there. Prayerfully, we'll be able to have a tennis program next year. YEAA, their basketball tournament is over. They had a very successful program. They're looking to have soccer in the fall. There was no incident. And again, Mr. Hunter and myself met with NDI to talk about the fitness center equipment over there. We also looked over at Community Park and had suggestions about enhancing some of the existing equipment over there that's breaking up. And I believe Mr. Wilkerson is going to take a look at it and see what he can do to help make it safe over there. So ends my report. If nobody has anything else, we have a motion to.
I do one really quick question. Mrs. Presswell or Mr. Nichols, can somebody detail for us, it could be in an email sometime later, the process to request for a demolition of a residential property? Or just point us to the guidance that we could go read it ourselves. What is our process when we have a property that should be considered for demolition?
Okay.
Thank you, guys. So move to adjourn?
Yes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second? All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for your hard work. We appreciate it.
Good
night.
evening,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you for presiding, Mr. Vice President.
Good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.